Hey, what's up, everybody? Rod J back again. Thanks for swinging by to check out this video. We are actually down here at Darkness Brewing in Bellevue, Kentucky. Almost said Fairfield, but he's in Fairfield. And I'm here with Eric of Darkness Brewing. Hopefully, you guys will be able to chime in. Now, I'm actually setting this up on OBS, so I'll check the other side for comments, but hopefully, your comments will come up on screen or any questions you may have. To come out and meet Eric, who's what's your title? Your co-founder, co-partner, and
Co-founder, head brewer, problem solver, mechanic,
yeah, so
janitor.
everything you could
Yeah.
possibly need.
Yeah.
So we definitely appreciate Eric taking some time for this as well. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask the questions. But wanted to get down here and check you guys out. Been here a few times, obviously. So finally get a chance to sit down with you, share some of the things, and kind of find out some more stuff about the brewery. So as far as the brewery itself, what kind of got you started? What kind of gave you the idea, the path to come out and do the brewing business?
Well, so I, excuse me, I grew up in the Air Force, so I moved everywhere. Mom and dad settled out in Denver. So through late high school and parts of early college, when I was allowed to or not allowed to go to bars, I really started to get into beer a little bit. It's a much different scene out there back in the 90s than it was here.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked the concept of the brew pubs where you're not necessarily making a whole bunch of beer to send out into the market. It's more about bringing people into the brewery.
Okay.
A little bit, kind of the neighborhood concept, I guess. So long story short, flash forward, I'm living in Cincinnati, and I've been in the bar business ever since I decided to not go to college.
Oh, there you
So,
go.
yeah. So I have a lot of experience working in bars as well as some restaurants. But then I still needed to know how to make beer to open up like a brew pub. So I
Right.
started home brewing, I guess at this point, maybe about 10 years ago. And essentially taught myself how to make beer and started saving money. My partner, Ron, and I first hooked up and started talking about Darkness about maybe 7 years ago at this point. A few years before we actually pulled the trigger. Once we got enough base money saved up and cleaned up some credit, got some credit cards together, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
We started looking for properties, and we looked in Newport, we looked in Covington. We wanted to stay in northern Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
We did some back and forth. Ron lives out in Eastgate. I live here in Bellevue.
Okay.
But we found like this area kind of needed something, like a little neighborhood, small place. So that was the thought.
Nice.
And we basically, it took us a long time to finally get her open. So,
Yeah.
Signed a lease in March 2015. Went through lots and lots of waiting for licenses, construction, and waiting for licenses. Yeah.
The red tape stuff. Yeah.
And then finally got opened, and it's just been depending on how you want to look at it, downhill slope if it's fun, or uphill if you're talking about growing as a business. So we've been able to reinvest to get out of some of our call it some of our ghetto fermenters, glycol chillers, and we did a lot of stuff from scratch on our own, made things, cut corners. But here we are now. We don't have any banks to answer to. We don't have any investor to answer to. And things keep moving upwards for us, and still like what we do every day. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So things have been going positive now for you guys watching, not familiar with the area. Where Darkness sits, it's off of one of our main avenues, I guess you could say, off the river, so Fairfield Avenue.
Uh-huh.
But across from that, we have the river and stuff. So it's really a good location. You get a lot of traffic coming through, people coming out here. You're right in the middle of the so-called downtown Bellevue setting as far as everything.
Well, you can see the skyline from out front of the brewery.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's why Bellevue's so popular. It's been growing in general with just people coming in and moving to the area.
Yeah.
It's so close to downtown. I mean, you could argue it's easier to get down to the P&G building from here than it would be from Norwood.
Yeah. Wow. And that's sometimes the trek in itself. Yeah.
With no traffic, even
right.
though. It's just it's a giant river, but if you're across it, cross it. There's a lot going on both sides.
Yeah. Which is kind of amazing in the parts where some people don't really get a chance to cross the river, but you do have these opportunities bustling around the different communities. And with it being here in Bellevue, it's also a great community because you have the community growth and stuff. So I know you probably got a lot of the locals that are really backing you guys and coming in and seeing stuff here. And today is actually, even though it's May 3rd, I don't think we have anything in the background, but they actually have their May 4th. May the 4th be with you celebration tonight. So at some points during the day, stormtroopers and people dressed up and all kinds of stuff. And you've got like the beers. Some of the beers you named like after.
We did. So this year we have our new one is our Kylo Red. Essentially a twist on an Irish Red. Just Red X malt only. A little bit different twist on a classic, if you will. Big malty background, nice color. I think a 5.5-ish. It's low ABV.
Sessionable people, sessionable.
There you go. And then we brought it back from last year by some popular demand. We did a Han Rolo, which is essentially a play on the Rolo candy. So it's chocolate and caramel and a brown ale. And we thought those two would pair well as father and son. Just get, a little outside the box of nerdiness. But in the past, like last year, we did a Centennial Falcon, Pale Ale Centennial and Falconer's Flight. We did Luke Sky Malter, which was another twist on a red ale. And one of my favorites, we'll probably hopefully bring it back next year, Lando Cascadian.
All right.
We did a Cascadian Dark Ale.
Nice.
It's a style that's true to my heart. I like that beer. So
no love for Boba Fett or anything?
Well, right now it's the way that we've come up with them between my partner Ron and my wife. It's like 2 years ago of all the puns. And I haven't gone through them all yet. And we try to stay away from like Java because of some of the other breweries that have played with Java Stout, etc. Boba Fett. If we come up with a good name for it,
I'm thinking of
I'll write it down.
Bobo's Brown Ale or something. I mean,
Oh yeah, well,
just throwing it out there, But so how long were you
Bobo Brett? There we
Bobo
go.
Brett. There you go. Nice
Bobo
sour.
Brett.
There you go. You've seen it here first, people. So before you got into the brewery business, like you were homebrewing, of course. So how long were you homebrewing before you started?
I'd say maybe 5 or 6 years. It's hard to remember. I started off because I was trying to teach myself to open a place.
Right.
One of the beauties of homebrewing is that it's for everybody. If you're interested, I know plenty of guys that might make a batch of beer every 3 years. And especially as we got closer to getting open, I was brewing almost every week. So I had trouble getting rid of the beer. A lot of good friends though.
That's what friends do.
And so that's the. So 5 or 6 years was pretty intense. Like I brewed a lot, just trying to learn and repeat stuff. And most of our core beer was all developed at home. So that when we opened here, like there was a few tweaking I had to do just when you scale up. There's little things here and there that differ. But generally speaking, everything was sort of ready to go. But then those 4 or 5 beers, I think in our first year we probably made 60-ish different beers.
Wow.
So obviously continued to experiment and keep the homebrew spirit. Our rotation of crazy experimental stuff has slowed slightly recently due to the fortunateness of being able to grow. Our fermenters are bigger, and so our batch size becomes larger. So it's not as simple to always make, let's say, three kegs or something over and over and over, all different stuff. Now we're making 12 kegs of it, so it takes longer to sell it. And, but we basically that first year, all the stuff we did was sort of a trial and error, and the stuff that people liked, we kind of bring back through seasonally throughout the year. With only 10 tap handles, it's hard. You want to keep a few of the Bellevue Common, our Kentucky Common ales, which we are out of today, but they'll be back next week. We try to keep that on all the time. Man on the Move, our Milk Stout, another one we're out of. It's good problems to have.
That's definitely good.
Those will all be back, but those we try to keep on all the time. We rotate in and out our Anomaly line, which we have some on now. It's a single hop black ale. I know some of that's distributed in Ohio. It's right now it's Amarillo. The one before I think was Columbus Anomaly. So it's whatever hop we use in that beer. We just change the name on it. So it's a way, especially if you come in, the regulars that come in, especially the ones that like it, you kind of get an idea between them. Once you get used to it, like every time the hop switches, you get an idea what this hop is and what that hop is. But then from there, we just try to Try to keep something light on, something hoppy on, something, keep the stout around, and try to keep the balance.
Yeah.
So that if you come in here, there's always something for anybody. And
Nice.
we have the cider thing that everybody has. We have a cider on all the time. Typically a sweeter one.
Okay.
And then sparkling seltzers that are all the craze now.
Yeah,
we
it's like
picked those up.
those are getting really popular.
We might be selling those faster than cider right now.
Really?
So, yeah, they've been. And
you think the taste may be coming from a change in the marketplace? Like, I know there's a big thing where they say a lot of millennials are steering away from beer. Although I know a good amount that still drink it, but
well, I think it's statistics, so you gotta take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I'm not a statistician, but I think if you want to, you can probably make any stats tell you what you want it to tell you.
First thing I learned is statistics when I had it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't trust
they
it.
They say what
yeah.
number? What are you looking for? Okay, we'll make the numbers match.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I believe that generally speaking, beer has been trending downwards for a long time nationally.
Okay.
Being basically replaced out by spirits and wine.
Right.
And I think that these seltzer waters, where the cider was coming in, and on some level sour beer was coming in to help with the wine drinkers.
Right.
Bring that taste, that palate over. Especially in the world of sour beer, you get a lot of food pairing ability, refreshingness, a lot more complexity. You almost get that third dimension of complexity compared to your other beers. And the seltzer, to me, I'm almost wondering if it's taking over for the cocktail range. The gin and tonic, the vodka soda, you're maybe health conscious, wanting to watch your weight, bathing suit season, the fads, trends, whatever. They are very low in calories, practically no sugar. So, kind of like the reason for a while, like there's been times my wife would just drink like vodka on the rocks and not drink beer for a while. She's trying to lose some weight or something.
Right.
I think it's the same concept.
Yeah.
We carry Braxton's version, the Vive.
Right.
We've had Smirnoff on, but I don't know if it's the weather change or what, but last month or two, we struggled keeping them in stock.
Yeah. I know last summer they were huge and a lot of people sold a lot out of them. You look at the beer cocktails that they were pushing a couple years ago, they seem to be diminishing and you don't see those in a lot of places. So maybe the seltzers kind of started to step in to replace those.
Yeah, it's an interesting, it's just an interesting market. And the more I learn about it, the more I don't really understand it.
Yeah.
The beer market in general, because when you talk with the BA about the general market, they're taking like everybody.
Yeah.
So you got big guys in California, Colorado, East Coast, and then you've also got like Darkness or Mash Cult.
Yeah,
Mash
Cult.
They're like the smallest one I can think of right now. And we're all kind of lumped together, so it's just general trends. And then you also deal with Cincinnati being 10 years behind everything.
Yeah.
We're booming right now, loving the beer thing. But you go out west or on the East Coast, and they're that's
baby
2000
late.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think we have a good model with being small and trying to focus more on local. We like the fact that people ride their bikes here, that people walk here. That versus we don't have the best parking in the world. It's not nearly as bad as people think.
Yeah.
There are some parking lots hiding right around the corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of been our goal from the beginning, our business model, if you will.
Yeah.
Is to most importantly, we want to be able to survive on the locals. And everything we distribute out, we love new people coming in. I love talking about the beer, the place, and everything. They like the atmosphere here. But all that, especially distribution-wise, which we started last year, all that sort of tertiary, primarily just to be able to have some employees in the back now, and I want to get them more hours. And if we don't grow that way, we can survive, but they want more hours. They want more security for them. I'd like to be able to offer more benefits, etc. But we just need to sell more beer to make that generate that revenue.
Yeah.
So
and even looking at the trends, you look at the overall beer sales kind of going down, but you look at overall in that number, craft beer is actually going up.
Yeah.
So it's still becoming a bigger piece of that pie, although that piece is still kind of small versus the whole pie with all the big macros out there. But
I believe last time I looked at it, AB InBev's total barrelage making exceeded every other microbrewery in the United States combined, including Sam Adams, Lagunitas, Stone, etc.
Yeah.
All of us combined, they still, and that's not including Miller Coors.
Yeah.
So just to your point, we are still the tiny minnow in that giant ocean.
Yeah, and I wonder. I think in their number, they may also be able to calculate into it now the assets on their balance sheet, right? So the craft breweries they've actually picked up
Oh yeah, it's
have
everything.
added as well.
It would be
like
Goose
Breckenridge
Island,
and all them. Yeah,
Stella, all their brands
Yeah.
together. I think the last I saw was like 110 million barrels or something.
yeah.
We made 390 barrels last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
or was it? Yeah, we almost hit 400 barrels. Yeah.
Which is still awesome
Which
for
to
a craft
put in
brewery. Yeah.
perspective, that's the big fermenter at Mad Tree.
Mhm.
Is what we made last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And
you
then-
guys have seen the Mad
And then
Tree
Mad
video.
Tree is relatively small compared to even like Sam Adams.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So a lot of good stuff there. Well, some of the comments coming in. Never trust a skinny chef. Shane, he's one of the guys that watches, subscribes. He says, "Mandate drinking, sign me up." LOL. So and we got Terry's quick beer reviews. Terry's actually over in the UK.
Okay.
So he says, "Hey Rod," he has some beers behind us saying cheers. It's funny, Eastwind Farms. He's up in the northeast, like I think it's Massachusetts. He's over Massachusetts, like maybe like Vermont, Maine area and stuff there. But we had a thing we were doing the other night on one of the streams, and we were going back to the Rick James, Dave Chappelle type jokes and stuff. So he's like Shane, Rick James, you know,
Yeah,
he's like
Rick
Shane
James.
James. Craig is another one of our guys. He's over at Kent Beer Reviews. He says cheers as well. And then let's see here. A couple of guys talking about traveling. And Eastwind Farms says, "I wish I was sipping on a pint." We have off the 10th, who is Chris. He's in Canada. He's one of the Canadian guys that does a brewing channel as well. He says hello. Let me see here. See who else then. Never trust a skinny chef that wanted to stop by and show support. Appreciate that. Dean's Beer Reviews, another guy from the UK. You're becoming popular in the UK. So
my brother-in-law lives in Salisbury.
Yeah. He says they have a brewery over there that's heavy on the Star Wars thing. A favorite of his is called Admiral Akbar. It's a Trappist ale. Oh, there you go. Another thing.
It's a trap. I love
it. And then a couple other guys saying hello to each other there. Let's see here. And then Bumpy, he's actually up in the Vermont area. So Darkness Brewing and Brew Daylight. So I think he meant Broad Daylight. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so a couple of guys said hello. But if you guys have questions as well, let us know, because I know some of the guys on here, like Bumpy, he does his channel. He does beer reviews, but he also homebrew stuff.
Okay.
And a couple of guys homebrew. So are there like any tips or any things or tricks you might want to share from when you first started doing home brewing, and things you picked up, maybe favorite hops or things that may have worked that you found were great shortcuts to do as a home brewer?
Well, I don't know about that. If I had something to say, the biggest thing I took away when I started home brewing, the problems I might have had, and I think this is just everyone's personality is different. I learn best by messing up, by touching things, doing things. I might have to read something 6 times. When I learned about water chemistry, I had to read that chapter 5 or 6 times to finally understand it. But with that, what I ran into when I ran into other homebrewers who were more experienced than I was. A lot of them tended to just tell me how I was doing everything wrong, and not, even though everything was coming out right, my process was wrong, or my equipment, my cooler wasn't the right shape, or you can't do that, you can't do that. What I would suggest is do what you want and don't listen to those people.
There you go.
That's how new ideas come about. That's how new techniques come about.
Right.
If there's anything, if I had to do over, I wouldn't be so cheap. And I'm not talking about $1 million, but like, I am inherently cheap. So I might say frugal if I don't want to insult myself.
Right.
But there's a few things, you try to cut a corner here, save some money there. It's a lot of times we're talking $15, $20 sometimes.
Right.
And then at the end of it all, you end up buying the damn thing you wanted to begin with.
Yeah.
So, if there's something you're looking for, just get what you want. Don't, sometimes cutting corners isn't always the best.
Right.
And then the other one I see a lot is understanding of hot liquid and plastics. Certain plastics aren't necessarily good when they get to 160 degrees as far as leaching chemicals into the. And I mean, a lot of that might be unknown and speculative on my part, but things like Parkinson's, cancers, Alzheimer's, like they still don't really know why we get that.
Right.
And I've just seen a lot of guys use certain products, coolers or tubs or something that, I'm like, hey, is that food grade? And they're like, I don't know. It works though. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I still wouldn't necessarily not drink a beer they gave me, but
Yeah.
that was just along the way. When we started trying to build our brewery here, we looked at a lot of cost cutting things, and we ran into a lot of things with plastic. Was really they were rated for maybe 140, and we needed to go up to about 160. So then, like, we couldn't consciously do that serving the public. So that was just something that got put in my mind, and when I look back at, I'm like, well, how many things did I use? Old milk jugs and things like that are, you think they're food fine, but you get them hot.
Yeah, things change on them. Yeah.
And now I hear like people like a bottle of water in your car, like that gets hot. Like apparently you're not supposed to drink that now. Like,
Oh, really?
Like the PETs or something could get So that's just always been an issue. I know a lot of us as homebrewers like use a lot of plastic because there's really nothing wrong with plastic if it's used right. I mean, when we opened, we had all plastic fermenters, and then they work just fine if you take care of them. I'd say the biggest thing I could say to homebrewers is let your freak flag fly, basically.
Yeah.
And just because if you're happy with what you're doing and making good beer that you like, then you're not doing it wrong.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can fall into kind of a better time looking at what other people may have been doing and kind of thinking it has to go that way, but through that and experiment at different things. I haven't brewed in a few years, but I was doing some brewing at home for a while, and some of the stuff I was just going with all my ideas. Like I've had beers, I've done a lot of stuff, tasting them and kind of know what they. Let's try this and that. You just try different things, and like a couple of the guys that asked me before, like you had your home brew, but how many did you screw up? I really didn't screw up any because I followed the directions of what I needed to do. You sanitized everything, you did everything you're supposed to, and they played out fine. So having that knowledge, what some people may skip through or not pay as much attention to, can lead to that. But I mean, I was probably doing things that other people may have not been doing it that way, but it worked out. So it was still good and stuff. So
Yeah. And there's so much that the process is so long and complicated, maybe, but just a lot of steps. It's easy to miss something.
Yeah.
I mean, our SOP for just brewing here is like 10 or 12 pages.
Yeah.
Like our fermenter cleaning is 2 pages.
Yeah.
And that's quite a few steps of, caustic and rinse and hook this up and hook that up. And, the brewing process. There's so many little tiny things you got to do.
Yeah.
But that just comes with practice.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the more you do it, the more, it's like anything in the world.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Yeah.
So for you guys to actually make a batch of beer, how long does it take for you to go from like day one to when it's probably ready over that period of time? I mean, I know it depends on what you're brewing.
2 weeks is really fast. 3 weeks is about average.
Okay.
But I'm also counting. So when you're home brewing and you're like, say you're kegging, you just out of your secondary, you just rack it in your keg, and get cold and carbonated.
Yeah.
For us, we cold crash in the fermenter. These are things I just didn't do at home.
Right.
And so that's, a couple of days, let everything fall out. Certain beers we'll find with like biofine. Gelatin works just fine. For home brewers, it's cheaper.
Right.
The biofine is vegan though, so we can say that our beer is
okay. There you go.
It's not an animal byproduct.
Right.
And then that takes a day or two to let it settle out. And then we got to move it to another tank, and then we got to carbonate it for a day or two, depending on the beer and how fast you're trying to do it.
Do you get a lot of requests on vegan beer at all? Curious.
No, I can count on one hand how many people have asked.
Yeah.
But for us and the bulk that we're buying it at, the biofine really isn't that much more expensive.
Okay.
And for me, it's like you measure it out and pour it in the tank. You don't have to mix it up, bloom the gel. It's a lot easier. So just on labor alone, it's a little bit more it costs to mix it up. In my opinion. Nice. And then we can say it if there's a question about it. So. Because before, if someone said it's a vegan, I mean, we had to say no, not technically. Yeah. You're not consuming the gelatin, but there was gelatin used in the process.
Right.
So anyways, that cleaning up process takes usually 4 or 5 days, depending on the beer. So that's what kind of adds to that 2-week point. So typically, they'll be done fermenting in a week and a half, 2 weeks. Okay. And then we take a few days, and then after it's carbonated, then we got to put it in kegs.
Nice.
It's just a lot of steps to it.
Yeah.
Compared to home where you're carbonating in the keg, we're not. We're kegging in a big keg basically, and then putting it in littler kegs. It just takes time.
Right. Let's see if any more comments on here. Ronnie S says cheers. He's just joined as well. He's another guy that does a lot of beer stuff. Buffy Rose says, I've got to stop brewing styles I don't like. When it's done, I can't tell if it's good because I don't care for it. So,
Yeah.
And then Dean asked me, what am I drinking? So I'm actually drinking the Pale Ale, which is...
Are you mental?
Are you mental?
Yeah.
Which, you know me, I am mental.
Yeah.
So I'm actually drinking a nice Pale Ale here. You're actually finished, but you were drinking.
the Divergent Parallels. It's a Cascadian Dark Ale we just did with Fibonacci and Alexandria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you guys, Fibonacci's another brewery.
Yeah, and Alexandria as well.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the middle between them.
Yeah.
So we brewed it here. I think Fibonacci is releasing next weekend, and then Alexandria will be after that.
Okay.
So we kind of just did, we each did our own same recipe we make it at each brewery. So there'll be some differences in the beer.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go see what the differences are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the Kentucky Common Ale is kind of a flagship for you guys here, which I didn't do a video on it, but we got together a couple days ago. I actually had the jalapeno Common Ale, which is a variant, which is very tasty.
Yeah.
So you get a nice little kick from the jalapeno and the spicy out there. That's why I tell people, try different beers. Some people might get scared off because of seeing jalapeno, but the jalapeno was very subtle in it. But you got you just got a nice little feel of it.
Yep.
And great job on that one. And
thank you.
How did you come up with that idea? As you were just tooling around.
Well, our common is pretty friendly with infusions. We've been doing that since we've opened. To take a batch of beer, maybe do a keg. We've done pineapple chipotle. What do we call pineapple fire? Is what we call that one. We've done blood oranges in it. We've done what do we do? The Great Mangolio. It was mango jerk seasoning and habanero.
Jerk seasoning. Wow. Okay.
We've done. I put mint in there one time, and that was the only thing I've had of the common. Everything else infuses perfectly in that. And so we decided for Cinco de Mayo, I guess to back up just a hair. So we do our chili cook-off. We have a chili cook-off in April every year.
Mm-hmm.
We do chili beer for that. Sort of guys from my Denver roots. Essentially a beer that tastes like drinking liquid like Anaheim or Hatch chilies.
Yeah.
Personally, it's very tasty, but 5-8 ounces is plenty for me.
Right.
Again, not spicy, just flavorful. So, kind of took that concept with the jalapeno. We cut that amount of chili back in half, so it wasn't quite as intense. And then we split and seeded 20 pounds of jalapenos and threw them in tank and infused it the same way we would do everything else.
Nice.
We just did it in a large. Instead of just doing a keg, we did 12 kegs.
Yeah.
So. And that was the idea. The idea for that kind of came from Michael. He was thinking of something for Cinco de Mayo, and then the common being so corn heavy.
Yeah.
He was thinking jalapeno cornbread, kind of an idea. And I said, that's not a bad idea. Let's give that a shot. So
nice.
We did some tests on it, and it came out good.
Yeah, it came out really good. So now you don't have the food here. You guys usually have the food truck come down.
That's correct.
So that's been a nice benefit. But you've been able to team up with a lot of the food truck businesses and people like that stuff, and people have been really acclimated, really liking it.
We actually just bought a food truck ourselves.
Oh, congrats! Okay.
Still being built, but so that's gonna be our solution to food.
Yeah.
We'll have a truck instead of so we don't own the building. So putting a lot of money into the building to build a kitchen didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and from my understanding as well, from talking to some of the other breweries, having that food separate from the brewery is a lot easier as it gets into the filing and the.
So we're still going to be. Well, we're stupid. We're keeping it all together. But I mean, my background's in food, and a good friend of ours is going to be basically cooking on the truck for us. And it gives us. We're going to have it pretty much here all the time, and then we also have the opportunity to take it places, certain events, festivals.
Yeah.
And then we can just have a food truck come in, sort of guest truck instead of a guest tap kind of idea.
You have it on the Kentucky side and Ohio side, right?
Yeah, we should be able to go both sides.
So, like, when they do their party in the park, for instance, in Ohio, you can actually have it there. That gets you some more
exposure, and then if let's say that's a Wednesday. I don't know if it is.
It is usually a Wednesday.
That's hilarious. Well, we might do a lot better on a Wednesday down there than we would here.
Yeah.
And so that makes sense we have our kitchen can move a little bit.
Yeah.
Have some flexibility to it.
Yeah.
And we get to have some cool artwork done on it. So one of our local artists is going to do it for us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's all about the whole local community growing and everything, and everybody becoming involved. Let me see here. And then Eric Alliance fans in the house. He says, "What up?" He's actually one of the guys on our Thursday night. We do a beer flow stream called the Beer Flow Show. So
Okay.
he's in Michigan, so he's one of the guys on the show there.
Okay.
But he does his beer channel as well. Dean said both sound nice guys talking about the beers we were talking about with the common. He said that jerk beer sounds interesting as well. And Bumpy says, "How about a Hefeweizen with banana peppers?" He says, "You try it first."
There you go.
And let's see here. He said, and then Beer Chug says, "Banana peppers, what did I come into?" So Beer Chug is another new beer channel as well. So join in. So we were talking about some of the pepper beers out there as well that have been done. I don't know if you'd call this in the previous, but I was talking about the jalapeno common, which is really good, but they also created. But he also says, "What's up?" And so he's watching it as well now. So a lot of people coming in. But again, if you have any questions as far as brewing or things like that, great opportunity to ask those as well. Just let us know. Hop wise, any favorite hops you like working with? Any of the ones you really enjoyed?
I ironically use a lot of East Kent Golding.
Really?
Yeah, we use a lot of it. It kind of happened. It wasn't really on purpose, but it's nice, makes it easy to order.
Yeah. Is there any characteristic about it that you really enjoyed using?
It's a nice. It's soft. It's not harsh. It gets the job done as far as a little bit of bittering. You get a little bit of fruit, a little bit of floral. I don't really find it to be a super overly. People are going to probably shoot me for this, but like when I think of like big flavorful hops, I always think of Australia, New Zealand, and North America.
Mm-hmm.
Being more old world, it's like I say, it's softer, more kind of like tea as compared to coffee.
Yeah.
And we use that in the common. We use that as aroma hop in the Mountain Dew or Milk Stout.
Okay.
We do a smash with it. We don't have right now. We call it Marigold, Smarisot, or East Kent Golding. Sort of an English thing.
Yeah.
I've recently got a bunch of El Dorado. Finally, been having trouble getting some of that. I like that hop. I'm a big fan of Mosaic. I've been having trouble finding that though recently. And then usually since we're small, we don't typically focus on a lot of IPA styles. So we don't.
Now that's kind of unique because so many breweries do focus on IPA. So with you guys, you're kind of not as focused on it. So
we always keep them around, and we do stuff. But we're just we've tried from the beginning to form a niche that's different than everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately kind of one of the reasons we're just not IPA centric.
Yeah.
So and there's plenty of places doing great IPAs.
Yeah.
Actually, Braxton Labs is 3 blocks down the street. They got some great stuff down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd say it's the hops is I just don't get as many because when we get a box, it lasts a long time.
Right.
There's been plenty I've been more disappointed with from reading, but that's not the hop's fault. It's just I read it and didn't taste it that way.
Yeah.
So, I've had some really interesting ones at different types of meetings and seminars, but they're all numbers and letters, and I can never remember what they are.
Yeah.
But they smell nice, they taste nice. Sometimes these guys will do experimental brews with these hops and try them out at like a Master Brewers Association meeting or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot. I know there's a lot coming out.
Yeah.
I'm liking Simcoe more and more.
Yeah. Simcoe's nice.
That's what that one is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It came off real orangey this time, which I was happy about. So,
yeah.
I'm trying to think. Other than that, anything I'm going to say is what everybody else is going to say. El Dorado, Mosaic, Simcoe, Citra, Amarillo. I don't know. We keep going.
But to go back on what you said there, because it's really cool. I think for me, you can get fatigued from so many IPAs that are out there.
Yeah.
So from not having to focus on that, which I think is a nice concept as well,
mm-hmm.
Has there been any type of when people come in, they're looking for the IPAs, they're kind of disappointed there's no IPA, or they kind of let me just try that then. I'll just drink that one.
So we usually will have something hoppy on to the point where if we run out, we most of the time, knock on wood, it hasn't happened in a while, we'll get a guest tap for an IPA or something, just because we know that's what people want.
Right.
But we just have our hop head on our black IPA.
Right.
That we count that as an IPA. So if you come in and you want a we don't really have any New England that was a little juicy, but that's not a New England.
Not New England, right?
But if you just want something, here's our IPA. And most of the time, people will get it. It's a little bitter from today's tradition or style.
Yeah.
But
more classical.
Yeah. It's so we get a little bit of that, but I can't say ever. I've never noticed someone just leave because we don't have 6 IPAs.
Yeah.
And if we did, nothing. I mean, we are in business to try to make some money, but we're not the place for you if that's really what you want.
Yeah, I mean, there are breweries that have a handful of folks.
And I'll gladly send you to 2 or 3 of them in the city.
Right.
We're all pretty much all friends.
Yeah.
And there's some great ones all around town.
Yeah.
And you might be like, Brink is a great example. A lot of people may not know about Brink.
Yeah.
And I'd send them there. Braxton Labs I mentioned. I'd send them there. I can't say how many people come in here that don't even know there's a brewery in the back of the party source.
Yeah.
So for us, that's always been our philosophy on it. Is we're trying to do stuff sort of different the way we want to do it. Try to offer a lot of variety, but we don't have 26 taps.
Yeah.
So we might, if we have a black IPA and you want a hoppy beer, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Or you could try something else. So,
Excellent. Well, that's the great thing too about here, the community part of brewing, is that a lot of the brewers do have that camaraderie, right? So this year we don't have, I guess, the beer week we had in the past, the Cincinnati Beer Week, when we get the brewers together, which was kind of a surprise that we're not doing it. But when we did have it, you'd have like 5 different breweries teaming up on beers.
It got to be, I think it got to be, I don't know if it's too many chiefs, so to speak, or too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But basically, I think when Beer Week started, it was tied in with the Beer Fest in February.
Right.
And there was, I mean, I'm probably wrong, but let's say 6, 7, 8 breweries in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And so they all got together and made this beer for Beer Week.
Yeah.
And it, kind of made sense. It was unfortunate because it was winter. It was always a giant beer, and which one drove the price up slightly, but 2, like you didn't really want to drink 4 of them.
Right.
Drink
right.
one. Well, then they switched it to summer, which I thought from their concept was good. But it no longer tied it in with the big beer fest, which I think was like, if you want to call strikes, like strike 1 sort of.
Yeah.
But then as the number of breweries just exploded in Cincinnati, that's when they started doing 5, 6, 7 breweries together to make 5 or 6 beers.
Yeah.
And then trying to sell all those beers for that relatively short amount of time, I think became difficult.
Yeah.
Especially with the river and then some of the liquor laws in Ohio, a lot of the breweries can't buy guest taps.
Right.
So they could collaborate with the beer and not even be able to buy their beer to put on draft.
Yeah.
So like the fellow collaborators couldn't even necessarily take some of that beer out of the market for them. So I think there was just a lot of I hope we can bring it back at some point because I love the idea of having a beer week in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I think it just needs to maybe be reimagined.
Yeah.
And not that anybody was doing anything wrong. I think it just sort of outgrew itself.
Yeah.
Maybe. Again, and in the winter, when it was in the winter, I was working at a restaurant. And we did like pairing menus. We did like 3 courses with 3 beers. We were here in Northern Kentucky, so we did like Kentucky breweries, which at the time were pretty much unseen up in this market.
Right.
So we had a reason to come in, do like 3 pairings, and maybe $25.
Right.
We loved it, and all the places around town got involved. And I think just as everything blew up and grew, it just became more difficult to manage, maybe, and handle. I don't have a necessary answer or solution to it, but Beer Week, if we can bring it back, let's bring it back.
Well, we got so many opportunities here because we have twice a year the Cincinnati Beer Fest, right? So we have the spring and then we have the winter. Well,
the big one.
They're pretty much winter or fall, I guess you could say, because one's in September and the other one's in February. And then we have Oktoberfest, of course, which is huge.
Yeah, Bachfest.
So we have a lot of that. We got Bachfest taking. I mean, so it's not like we don't have beer activity taking place, but can always use more. So.
Well, and in the middle of summer, I mean, there's so much going on just individually at the individual breweries. You've got the church festivals. You've got, I mean, I could speak just here at the Levee in Newport. They've got some kind of festival going on almost every week through the summer.
Right.
Italian Fest, Seafood Fest.
They got the Geta Fest and all kinds of stuff down there. So it's always something happening. They actually have the it should be like I think in June the Beer Bacon Festival as well.
That's right,
Yeah,
beer,
they
bacon, or bourbon and bacon.
bourbon and bacon, beer, bacon,
yeah.
bourbon. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the three B's and
yeah.
everything. So that'll
There's
be taking
always
place.
something going on, and I mean, I know if it's happening here, it's happening in Blue Ash, it's happening downtown, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
I think Taste Cincinnati's another one where they have a lot of beer.
Oh yeah,
too.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Bunbury.
Yeah, Bunbury's another one.
I'm just
used.
thinking of what's right around this area.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So a lot of beer stuff happening. But have you made a beer with bacon? Have you guys experimented with that at all?
I have not.
Okay.
I did years ago. I played with bacon in Manhattans.
Okay.
Infusing bacon into bourbon and stuff, and nothing ever really came out very good in my opinion.
Okay.
Even using real bacon, like hand cooked, not artificial,
Yeah.
it always tasted artificial.
Yeah.
It always came across like you ended up putting something else in the drink to cover up the bacon flavor.
Yeah.
So I had more luck with just adding smoke, like either liquid smoke or smoke. Actually, with the bourbon, I just added liquid smoke.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out how to smoke liquid. Really hard to keep it lit.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tricky because I've had some that have done well as far as bacon, but I had some that didn't as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
If I was going to play with it, I would probably use. I'd probably find a way to use some like smoked malt, go with more of a Ralph beer concept.
Yeah.
Fat and beer is like just don't mix well.
Yeah.
Especially the amount you would need to put into the beer to get that flavor out. I think you put way too much fat in.
Yeah.
I don't think it would come out. And then I mean, then you deal with like artificial flavoring. But I've never found artificial bacon flavor to taste like bacon.
Yeah.
It always tastes plasticky or something weird about
Yeah,
it.
it's all weird about it.
Like tastes like Bacos, like the vegan Bacos. You know what I mean?
Got you.
If you didn't know that, Bacos are vegan.
Let's
Or at
see
least
here.
vegetarian.
A couple more questions coming in. All right, there we go. So, well, I know Eric asked, which I know the answer, but he asked if you guys bottle or can your stuff yet for distro,
No.
which you haven't done that yet.
Nope.
But is that like down the road at a certain point where you guys are projecting
we're
it?
not.
Or?
No, we're not against it if it shows up, but we're not planning.
Okay. So right now it's like growl. You have growlers or
We do-
just growlers?
We do growlers and howlers, glass jugs,
Okay.
and then we
excellent.
distribute beer to local bars, restaurants, draft only.
Right.
And I mean, if you really wanted a keg for your house, like if you came and talked to me, we don't have a lot in stock, like smaller stuff, but
Yeah.
within a few days, week or so, I can probably put something together for you.
Yeah.
We can legally sell you a keg of beer to take home with you. We just can't sell it to a business to resell.
Gotcha.
So right now, like a mobile canning line, I mean, unless something's changed again, I apologize if I'm misspeaking, but I believe it's 30 barrels is what they want for their minimum show up, and our biggest tank is 15 barrels.
Yeah.
So we have to do 2 weeks of brewing practically to fill up that to get a minimum, and we still don't even have enough room. We don't have a tank big enough to even put it in.
Yeah.
So unless something were to change, and then even at that size, like the mobile canning is not lucrative financially.
Yeah.
It's good to get your product on the shelf if that's what you want.
Yeah.
But it's just a numbers game. It's a scale game.
Yeah.
The more you do, the more efficient it gets. The more money to be made. And it's not that I'm being greedy. It's just like some of those 6-packs. Like I think you might make a quarter on it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I think also in today, the way it is now, you've got to be careful on how you're planning out. I like breweries that take their time on how they want to plan out because some are going too fast and they're putting themselves under because they're doing
And
it.
the other thing I do know about us here is we don't have a lot of the equipment, I'd say maybe on some level the education. Obviously, that's very available to me through all the different things we're members of. But just in packaging and things like dissolved oxygen, and you get into we keep everything cold in a keg all the time.
Right.
As soon as you start putting warm cans on a shelf, it changes what can happen. And quality control, the parameters change tighter because you don't have control over the product, and you need to make sure it's going to last well.
Right.
So that would be my biggest fear, that we would put a product out there that we think is fine, but then 6 months from now it's trash, and somebody buys it from someone, and then we have a bad reputation because of one bad 6-pack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and really, our main goal is to be a local brew pub.
Yeah.
Again, if the future for holds canning to us and brings it to us, we're not against it at all. It's just right now, like in the space, there's not enough room to even pretend to put a canning line in.
Right.
So we would have to,
find a bigger space.
Well, see, and that's like we've talked. If we, we're all kind of about organic growth.
Yeah.
And if and when, let's say when, be positive.
Mm-hmm.
When we get there, instead of trying to, we always wanted to keep this place what it is. We'd be much more likely to go rent or buy a second location, similar to what like Taft and all the other places have done.
Right.
Maybe not to that scale, but something where we could make something a little bit more production like, where we could put, let's say, a canning line. We could put much larger tanks in, bigger brew house, etc. But that would only just be, we'd have to really have a lot of evidence to prove that it would work for us.
Right.
Because of like what you said just a little bit ago, a concern is growing too fast.
Yeah.
It's, I think if you really have a handle on business and you're that kind of business guy, you can maybe handle it. But I'm not taking anything away from Ron. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
But we're not like business moguls. We're not MBAs.
Right.
So for us to grow too fast, I feel like we could get into trouble.
Right.
Just because we're not very comfortable with it all, and it's in the world of business, it's easy to make one mistake, and then that can snowball and tumble, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And so canning and bottling, we do. And just to be very clear, for certain releases, a lot of times the anniversary party and stuff, we'll hand bottle some bombers. The last few years, it's always been like a stout of some kind. We do for our anniversaries in July.
In July, okay.
But that's literally just, we get 7 or 8 cases and just use a beer gun and just fill bottles with beer and hand cap them. And, the guys always love it until they do it, and then at the end of the day, they're so happy they're done. It's just a lot to stand there and fill
this is why we don't bottle.
Yeah. I mean, if we wanted to go past that, I could see us maybe going with like a 4-head filler for like bombers for special releases.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like 6-packs and more mass-produced bottles, that's not on our radar at all. I'd say we'd be more likely to do a bunch of bombers, and if we don't sell them all here, maybe send some to the party stores or something.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the capability of doing that, but we'd have to buy some more equipment.
Yeah.
But that's something it's like a tabletop kind of thing. It doesn't take a lot of space.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's. I guess so with bottling, I kind of divide that. Like the specialty bomber stuff, I don't count that the same as 6-packs, so to speak.
Right.
Those are going to be pallets of cases and sent out the door.
Yeah.
The bombers for us are more about some special we want to release, and we have some sour stuff in some barrels right now, kind of called the pseudo-lambic.
Okay.
We built a stout for the barrels, very low IBU, relatively low alcohol, and we put those into 2 wood barrels and pitch different species of the same bacterium bred in them.
Okay.
So we can kind of see what the differences will be. And I was hoping to get that for this anniversary party. I'm not sure, but things like that, especially if that starts to take off and does well, at least for the time being, would all be bottle conditions, just to try to keep some of that stuff out of our main brewing system and equipment.
Okay.
So that could be that'd be the closest thing to us doing any kind of bottling.
Yeah.
And again, that's like on my radar, and it's way over there.
Yeah.
It's as far as trying to do anything mass production wise.
Yeah.
Because all these things are, I don't think they'll be ready this year. But I mean, it might be 3 years before that's ready.
Yeah.
And so if we're trying to do something on that type of timeline, we don't have anything backing it up right now. So it's just going to take us time. And, we just wanted to see how it goes, see how it feels, and just keep trying new things. And if it works, we repeat it. And if it doesn't work, we move on.
Yeah.
So,
No, definitely makes sense there. And then let me see here. Which Eric then after that point he said perhaps brewery only releases, which we would have the brewery only release with the anniversary type bottles and stuff. Yeah. Bumpy had asked, "What's your favorite base malt?"
What's my favorite baseball?
Yeah, base malt.
Oh, malt. I was like, baseball. I was like, I don't understand the question. The one with the stitches.
Yeah.
My favorite base malt. Well, I mean, as far as what we use pretty much just basic 2-row, just about everything. But Maris Otter, I'm a big fan of. We use that in quite a few beers. I really the Honrolo, sorry, the Kylo Red that's on right now is all Red X.
Okay.
It's a unique Munich type malt made by Best Malting,
Okay.
but it creates a wonderful red color. And in particular, that beer and other beers we've done, we use that as our base malt.
Okay.
It adds it's a nice, wonderful flavor, great color, easy to use. You don't have to do so many blending of different caramel and roasted malts to get those colors out. Ashburn malt has been a really good one from Greece. It's the mild malt.
Yeah. Okay.
Really nice flavor profile, maybe about 5 on the Levabon level. But I guess if I had to pick one malt, if I could only brew with one, I'd probably say Marathon.
Okay.
If I had to just make that decision, we don't use a whole lot of Pilsner malt, but then again, we're much more of an ale-based kind of concept. We don't do a lot of German or really even a whole lot of continental style beers in general.
Okay.
When we do our Hefeweizens or Dunkelweizens, I'll use Pilsner malts.
Yeah.
But I guess when we've done some saisons, some of those traditional styles, I'll try to stay somewhat traditional. But
Gotcha.
I'm also, at Darkness here, we're also untraditional.
Yeah.
Like our first saison, for example, was a pumpernickel saison.
Okay.
So it was like
That's different.
It was designed after the bread. So instead of wheat, it was rye. It was caraway instead of black pepper.
Yeah.
Molasses instead of candied sugar.
Right.
But still, Pilsner malt is the base and saison yeast. But if I didn't have Pilsner malt for that, I'd have put two-row in there, and it would have been totally fine.
There you go.
I mean, again, you're putting caraway seed and molasses and rye and all this other stuff in there, so you kind of already broke with tradition at that point.
Gotcha.
So, at least the two-row I've always been using, or we use, is pretty flavorless in a good way, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Not too dark.
Kind of a neutral type thing.
Yeah, not too overly like malty or which Pilsner's kind of got its own uniqueness. And I think a lot of times color is important with Pilsner.
Right.
But again, our color was like it came out brown, so
gotcha.
We weren't worried about it.
So what was because I'll ask this one, like the idea behind the Darkness name? We didn't say that earlier.
Yeah. So we like dark beer.
Yeah.
I was in the bar business for a long time in this area. Every time I needed to fill a dark tap handle, there's always a thing for beers that weren't Guinness or some of the other imports.
Common,
trying to get some regional local beers like dark stouts, porters, etc. And not to say that there's not a bunch of them out there, fantastic ones out there. I had to learn how to like stouts, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else's beer.
Right.
But especially come like hot weather, I always found it interesting that there was always this like ebb and flow.
Yeah.
And in the winter, you got 1,000 stouts to choose from, and then come summer, when I go to try to buy one of those stouts, it's only seasonal, it's out.
Yeah.
So I felt like there was a slight niche that could be offered to the market. Ironically enough, we don't sell a whole lot of beer out in distribution, but but my partner and I both like dark beers.
Yeah.
Again, we don't dislike IPAs, but we're not IPA heads.
Right.
And so the name started there. We also kind of are like nerds when it comes to like space and stuff.
Okay.
I went to space camp when I was a kid.
Oh, pretty cool. Yeah.
So we got some of the theme there with the space. We also are, I guess, musically eclectic, but at times we can get down with some heavy metal.
There you go.
Get a little dark on things. And then I personally am a gigantic Dave Chappelle fan.
Oh, there you go. All right.
So I think realistically, what sold it was Darkness.
Yeah.
Chocolate Murphy.
Oh, it's one of our
Actually,
other
one
buddies.
of our beers, we make a Chocolate Murphy.
It's Chocolate Murphy. You don't have it on. You don't have it on tap.
No, we do it a little. It's an imperial chocolate porter. We do it typically a little bit cooler weather because it's like I think it's about 10%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always called it a big bitter and black.
Yeah.
Just like Charlie Murphy was.
Well, it was funny. We did the live stream last night. And I told the guys I was coming down to the interview, and one of the guys, Joe, who does the Beer Patrol, just started laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know you're thinking Chappelle. He's like, that's just what I was thinking the whole time. So
maybe he'll sue us. We get to meet him.
Yeah. Well, he's only like
he's
like an hour away from us, really, hour and a half maybe. So who knows? He comes down this way. Maybe he'll stumble into the bar and stuff like that, which would be really cool.
Yeah.
A
friend of ours used to live up there. She said he used to like skateboard at the coffee shop every day.
Yeah.
So apparently he's like.
He said he's pretty involved in the community there.
Yeah. And everybody leaves him alone now that they're used to him.
Yeah, he said he has like 6 or 7 acres up there. So he's kind of his
house
like kind of
does.
in the center back. Well, he likes to have his weeds. So he's like, no, ain't nobody messing with me. Now I'm away from everybody. Bumpy had asked. No, he already asked about the favorite malt there. Yeah, let me slide down here. He said, out of the 4 ingredients, which one have you experimented with the most? That's actually from Beer Chugs, not Bumpy.
Okay. I'm assuming he means like malt,
Hops,
hops,
wood, or malt
yeast.
yeast, yeah.
I'd say between hops and malt, I think I've probably experimented more with malt than hops.
The hops, okay,
Yep.
yeah.
As far as just when I go to write a recipe, and I'll find like a new malt. I just found some new oat type malts out at CBC recently, for
Okay.
example, and one of them I can't quite buy yet, but like I'm like, oh, that's cool, let's get that, and then I'll write a recipe with that.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll take. I really enjoy it. It's more difficult now at our scale. When we were a lot smaller, it was easy. I just go in the back and look at what we have and just write a recipe.
Yeah.
Say, all right, we got some of this. I call them garbage beers, trash beers. We're just going to use up. We got a little bit of hops here, here, and here, and all right, that'll be fine. We'll do this, and we'll do this malt, that. Oh, that'll work. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
So it's like test a small batch
Yep.
out and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so playing with somewhat with ratios, and then just ingredients. Like I said, with some of the other malts we've used, as base malts.
Yeah.
I like to. I will say like most everything I've never made up. Everything's been stolen or borrowed.
Yeah.
At least concepts. I don't think of a single beer I've made that I just was, absolutely everything about it was 100% all my 100 my idea.
Yeah.
The Red X thing came from Listerman's. Speaking of Beer Week, they made a amber with I think New Zealand hops and some kind of wood in it. Handful of years ago. It was before Jared was there. When, Patrick was still there, and it was all Red X. And I really love the color and the flavor of the beer. So once we got open and going, I was like, I'm gonna try that. So I did a smash.
Yeah.
We call it the Chronicles of Red X.
I love a Riddick. Yeah, there you go.
So it's Red X and Mosaic. And, and even in those situations, all the smashes I've done so far, this one you were drinking isn't technically a smash. There's a smidge of wheat in it, but it's basically a smash. That one's a little more hop forward. Most of them I've tried to focus on the malt flavor.
Yeah.
Mainly because in town when that sort of hit a little bit, the smash thing, a lot of guys were focusing more on the hop side.
Yeah.
And I found that's awesome. I don't dislike it. You can showcase hops and see what they taste like, but you kind of lose whatever malt it was.
Yeah.
So if they're just doing a Pilsner or 2-row or pale malt, that's not the end of the world. But if you get into some more creative malts as a base, I feel as a consumer even I would want to, of the two things. Well, I know what Mosaic is, but what's this malt? And then now you can try and taste to get an idea for it. Water I've experimented with the least.
Okay.
We're very blessed here in Bellevue to have really good water.
Yeah.
There's very little additions we have to mess with. I get a report sent to me every month from the water company. Yeah. They ironically test it just on the other side of the expressway from here, so it's really really close to us. So we're getting really good reading, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm also a firm believer in if it's not broke, don't fix it. And we've had good results with our water profile, the way we've been treating it now.
Yeah.
We use calcium chloride and or gypsum, depending on the beer recipe.
Okay.
To add a little bit of calcium to the water, add a little chloride, sulfate, and then we adjust mash pH with phosphoric acid. Very common thing.
Yeah.
And that's really much it. So like our lighter beers, our pH in our water, our mash pH comes out a little bit high. What we'll call it a light beer.
Yeah.
So we'll have to add a little bit of acid, but whenever we do like our black beers, we don't add any of it. That dark roasted malt, caramel malt, it drops that pH down. We've never had to raise it, but there's been a few times where I'm like, let's let it go.
Yeah.
It works out.
Right.
Where the pH gets a little low. But, we're very lucky. I know there's other spots, especially right across the river. I've talked with Scott when he was at Blank Slate. For example, his water was not easy to work with at all. Yeah. And there's apparently other spots in town where they might have 3 sources of water blending together at any given ratio at any given time. Yeah. So every single time they touch their water, it's different. Yeah. And so that's where maybe places like Mad Tree, I think they go RO or they take it all the way back down to H2O and rebuild their water profile. Yeah. We're fortunate to have to do that. We have everything kind of built in here. So
water is very easy to get overlooked too by a lot of people.
It is because one, the chemistry of it all is confusing. Yeah. I'm not a chemistry major. My degree is in horticulture. So my chemistry classes were like soil science,
Right.
and where like I would add calcium to soil to raise the pH.
Right.
So you add calcium, the way we do in brewing actually lowers the pH in the
Yeah.
water. Like it's a little bit of a head scratcher, but
Right.
I've read it, and then John Palmer, the How to Brew book,
Yeah.
fantastic book. That'd be a recommendation if you don't have that book as
Yeah.
a brewer. Not Charlie Papasan, go get that book too. But
Yeah.
John Palmer, I think, does a much better job of how to.
Okay.
And then, fortunately, I got to see a water thing from him on a webinar or something.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Basically took his chapter in that book and just expanded on it slightly.
Yeah.
But, that chapter is solid.
Yeah.
But still, at the same time, you have to sometimes I know it's science, but it's sometimes like magic.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of luck comes your way sometimes.
You're like, well, okay, I don't really understand why, but it keeps working, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Something seems to be clicking there.
Yeah.
And then welcome Thrash Metal Home Brew and Barbecue. So Thrash also runs a beer channel. He also home brews and does different things. So
I gotcha.
glad to have him in as well. And
I'm gonna go with
you talking to metal?
Yeah,
he's a metal guy too. Yeah. And then Joy Stewart, actually, she's signed in as well. Welcome. But she was asking, what do you think of Portland IPA? And I think about the IPAs out of Portland. I don't know if she was here earlier. We were talking about kind of like you don't do a lot with the IPAs, but is there a feel you have about
I'm actually,
some of the...
to reference something as a Portland IPA is actually new. I haven't heard that. Been to Portland, one of my favorite cities. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really know how to answer that question.
Yeah, I think she was looking maybe some of the IPAs coming out of Portland, maybe some of the West Coast type stuff out of there.
And then,
I mean, if you were out there in Portland, Portland's almost like your world right there, too.
Yeah.
So many different things.
When I'm there, I'm not getting hops. I'm not getting IPAs. So with that, I have to say I don't know. I mean, I know Deschutes isn't even technically in Portland, but I like some of their fresh squeeze. But I tend to not like. I like not bitter.
Yeah.
I like the New England concepts. I think they're an amazing skill to brew those beers. They're against everything we do as brewers.
Yeah.
And it's not as easy as you think to make a beer stay hazy.
Yeah.
So I think there's, we don't make a lot of them, but when we do certain concepts of IPA based, I've definitely moved towards at least the hopping schedules of that, where there may not be any bittering hops. It all goes in way late, a lot of dry hop.
Yeah. Flavor.
You get a lot of flavor and aroma. IBUs maybe around 40, 50 is where I'm liking them. That's on our little calculator. So again, I have my own opinions on IBUs. They're not all created equal. That's. Sorry not to answer that question.
No, I mean it's kind of more of a general type question, but for my thinking of the question, it's got to be more of the IPAs maybe out of that Portland
area. If I think
area.
of West Coast IPA, before the New England juicy, hazy, some are calling them East Coast. I remember East Coast before that, but I liked the West Coast. They were much more citrus and fruit forward. They're using more of those northwestern hops. I think in a way they probably evolved into the New England concept. Of just, eventually just pushing the hop additions further forward to reduce the bitterness. I remember old East Coast IPAs being really bitter. Much more like an English style, but American bitterness. And they all had their place. Anymore, to me, that there's too much bitterness. You want to scratch your tongue and stuff when you're done. And so I'm assuming that the West Coast is keeping up with some of that. But that is, it's interesting. Now, next time I'm at a seminar, I might actually go to an IPA course just so I can learn a little more about those. I didn't think I'd get a question that I didn't really, I hadn't heard about.
Let's see here. Bumpy had asked, do you guys do the traditional hopping of bittering, flavor, and aroma, or do you follow the new or maybe a bittering addition in Whirlpool?
We do most always fairly traditional bittering. When you get into the flavor aroma concept, it depends on the beer. But we'll let's say I think our hop head is a little bit bitter, but we do bittering and then we'll do. We might do something in 30 minutes. I might have changed that to 20, but then we might do 15, 10, 5 Whirlpool are all times we would use. Maybe not all 4, but a version of those. most recently did an oat pale ale, and like we didn't put anything until 10 minutes.
Okay.
We did 10 minutes. I think we did 10 minutes, 5 minutes Whirlpool, and then we'll dry hop the crap out.
Okay.
But most all of our stouts, our goldens, all that's pretty traditional. Mainly because one, with us not trying to be so hop forward on those, especially those styles.
Right.
I can put a high alpha hop early on in the boil, and I can use way less, so that just comes down to cost savings as a business.
Gotcha.
There's a few other ones where we might start at 30 minutes, or if it's something where I'm not trying to keep it bitter and I want all that hop aroma up front, I'm doing more modern stuff. We're still getting plenty of IBU pickup from, even just Whirlpool.
Yeah.
You're just going to pick a lot up. And I'm wondering, at least perception-wise, if you put enough in the dry hop, I think you get something out of it.
Yeah.
I know from a science background, we're not. There's no heat. We're not extracting in the same way. But when you go to put 3+ pounds a barrel of hops in your beer, you're getting something.
Yeah.
Perception-wise, your brain thinks that you're getting some bitterness. So.
Yeah.
And that's the trick. That's what a lot of times why we want plenty bitter hops in. It's just we know that we're going to be plenty bitter, and we might get more than what we even think. So better to play it safe.
Sure.
Because especially today, it's all about flavor, not bitterness.
Yeah.
When I started in this business years ago, it was bitter. They had the most bitter beer you got. They had the most bitter beer you got. 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
And also what was funny is Sierra Nevada seemed quite bitter back then too.
Yeah.
And then through the evolution of it all, now I had a Sierra Nevada not that long ago, pale ale.
You're just used to it.
And I was like,
well,
I remember this being like almost an IPA. It's not really.
It kind of just stands out now.
And I almost thought they changed it. And I was like, no, it's the same. All right, cool. I've just had some really crazy stuff recently.
Like time caught up to it.
Yeah.
Beer Man, he says, cheers. I always love to say, I'm at work, but I thought I'd stop by. This is a good live, love it, so appreciate it. Beer Man's out on the West Coast.
Okay.
So he's actually middle of his work day or so out there, but he does beer reviews and different things too.
Okay.
So great stuff on this channel. We got Drunken One in who actually says, good morning, gang. Good afternoon. He's actually down in Texas, so he's a few guy. But Drunken One is big into home brewing as well.
Okay.
So he home brews right now. I think he has 2 or 3 different things going at his house.
Okay.
So it's great to have him in here too. If you have any questions, Drunken One, let us know as well. Bumpy Rose says, got you on the big screen. So, so that's good. Hope it's not in HD. So
when you get Tim in the background doing jumping jacks.
Yeah, right. And then Drunken One said he got rained out of the garden, so I guess he's stuck inside. Well, you're inside, so now you're checking us out, so that's a good thing. Beer Man said he had to get back to work. You guys take care. Cheers. Have a good day. Appreciate you swinging by, and definitely check out some of the replay later if you want to catch up on everything. Beer Chugs is now. Can't wait to get home and have a beer.
Okay.
So after watching and everything. Let's see here. Bumpy said he was actually enjoying the Berliner Weiss right now. He was talking about. You guys do Berliner Weisses down here? Have you done that style yet?
We haven't done anything sour yet.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on the medium list. I think what first kettle sour we'll do is going to probably be a ghost.
Okay.
Just it's a nice style.
Oh, I love ghosts. Yeah.
Right now, honestly, it's about finding just space and time.
Yeah.
We just have one little fermenter now. Everything else is sort of double or quadruple batch size. And for trying something like that the first time, we don't want to do it small.
Yeah.
And so far, it's like every time the 50 gallon empties out, like there's something else that has to go in it.
Yeah.
So that's part of the space start of it all.
Well, a good problem to have is having a list.
Oh,
so,
that's a good point.
That's a good point. That's a good problem to have. Bumpy did say, I love rye and pumpernickel bread. That Saison needs to be in my mouth. So you got him interested in that one and stuff too.
There you go.
Drunken One says, it's only 12:30 there. Should I be drinking a beer while I'm watching this? Well, that's your call, Drunken One. You got to live up to your name, my friend. Beer Chuck said, hell yeah, Drunken One. So
it's probably 5 o'clock in the Atlantic somewhere.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, is anybody else? We've been drinking some here as we've been doing it. So.
Actually, do you want any more beer?
Yeah, what else do you want me to try over there?
Like,
I'll try the Kylo Red since that was the newer one. That'd be good. Okay.
I'll go grab it.
Okay, cool. All right.
I'll be right back.
So he's going to grab some more beer, and let's see some more comments here. Bumpy, cheers to Thrash. He didn't see you there, so good stuff. Beer chugs. I got to figure my winner's pH. I have no idea what's in it. So yeah, it's always good to, depending on where you're at, getting the pH balance. That does figure into some of the home brewing. A lot of times you'll see the science kit type stuff with the flasks and everything like that. People are measuring out the pH to make sure they get the right balance. There's a couple sites on the internet. I'm trying to think of them offhand. But if I remember them, I'll put them in the description as well for anybody who wants to look at home brewing sites, because you can actually track that stuff on there too. And then a couple questions from Beer Chugs. We'll wait for Eric to come back here. Hey, welcome, Burning Beer. Nice to see you, my friend. And then we'll talk about that with the Portland IPAs. And I think that's most of the comments there. So if you guys got any more questions, keep them coming as we get back and enjoy some more beer. What I'll do probably after the video, because you guys can't see it here because I got the camera on the computer positioned, you're really catching the back of the bar. But as they get ready for their May the 4th celebration, they're putting up a whole bunch of different Star Wars type stuff. They got like the helmet, like this replica, like right here on one of the tables. They got like a board where you can put your face in, if someone is C-3PO, someone is R2-D2. Thank you, sir. They have some of the Android other stuff on the walls here. So I'll do another video with some pictures kind of as a montage so you guys can check those out as well. One of the questions that came in was Beer Chugs asked if you ever read Dave Miller. Any thoughts?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I am not much of a reader, to be completely honest.
Okay.
So, especially if it's like books.
Okay.
I may have read some articles that he wrote, but I never pay attention to authors usually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to say no.
Okay. All right.
I may have even heard him speak, but I don't remember.
Just remember anything like that? Okay. And I have not read any Dave Miller as of yet, but you know, like I said, different books, and I got different ones at home, so I don't know if you might be one in the collection, but I'm kind of like you, like visual, like to get your hands on, like to get involved on type stuff too.
Yeah, the books I have, the Homebrewers Bible, I think that's what it's called, the Charlie Pappison book.
Joy to Home Brewing.
That's it.
Yeah,
Joy of Home Brewing.
Yeah. We had the Beer Bible.
No, and then just the How to Brew with John Palmer, and that's it. Those are only two books that I have.
Okay.
A lot of stuff's online, so I'm sure I've read, chapters from like the Yeast book or the Water book or the Hops book. But
and a lot of the video, I mean, even like the Brew Association, they run their YouTube channel, so they put a lot of that stuff on video.
And then I'm a member of the Kentucky Brewers Guild, PA, and the Master Brewers Association, and we have meetings like the MBAA, for example. Like every quarter when we have a meeting, it's like 5 hours of like classes, sort of.
Yeah.
It's usually themed after something. Like we had one with hops and centrifuges, and there was one of the best ones I went to was all about barrel aging. And they had 5 people go up and talk from the manufacturer of the barrel all the way up to 3 Little Fish spoke, Crooked Stave spoke about like barrel aging, souring beers, etc. So like there's a lot of like I end up unfortunately I get a lot of, I call it continuing education.
Yeah.
It's not like really a requirement for that, but that's sort of where, at this point, I get a lot of information there. And then just talking with other brewers. Yeah. Like if I have a question about something, I'll more than likely call somebody and just ask them. Yeah. Rather than try to look it up, because they're going to know. Yeah. And most of the brewers in town are smarter than I am. Yeah. So that's always a good thing.
Well, the key thing that you mentioned there as well, especially for the guys that are watching our home brewers, try to build out your network when you're doing this stuff, so you have the resources made available to you, that you're able to contact others. If you don't know the answer, someone else may know that answer. So you want to have a built-up network around you that you can address those type of questions.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought sometimes people try to just do it all their own, and they can't always get everything there. When they can easily talk to someone, it might be, okay, well that gets me over that next hurdle I was looking for.
Like here locally, for example, like Listerman's, good example. Like if you have questions, you can go into your homebrew store, and those guys know a lot about beer. And if they don't know the answer, there's usually 3 guys in the back, and between the 4 or 5 of them, and if they can't answer the question, then maybe you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like the little commercial. If we don't got it, you don't need it.
So I'm gonna go with that's probably not the only one in the world that's like that. I'm sure most people's local homebrew stores have knowledgeable people working there.
Right.
They should. That's part of the point is their point is to sell you stuff. So if they help you, then you'll come back to them.
Yeah.
And then for us, like that's become other brewers. Alexandria is one that I talk with a lot. Andy went to Siebel.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of just information about a lot of stuff.
Awesome.
That, whether I need it ever applies to me or not, but I know I can usually run stuff by him.
Yeah. Because I met I think it was Andy. I met at the last Beer Fest out there too. So that's another brewery I need to get down to down in Alexandria, Kentucky here. And
he just celebrated a year on April 20th.
Yeah.
So he's doing well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're doing
and
some,
then
they're doing
also,
some
I
good
guess
things.
Braxton too is big help. Those guys know a lot.
Yeah.
They've been through a lot.
Yeah.
They know a lot. They've hired a lot of really smart people, and they've learned a lot.
And they've come a long way.
Growth.
I mean, it was funny. It was about a year and a half ago, and I was driving, and they had a Braxton 18-wheeler out there. And I'm like, how the hell did they get to 18-wheelers already? But their growth has just been so great. But they planned it all out. They followed their plan. They didn't try to over-push it. And they stayed on track the whole time as they moved forward, which is great.
Yep.
So that all worked out well for them. Yeah.
And then we get to reap the benefits.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Vernon Beer was making mention of Great Notion, make some good Portland IPAs, talking about the Portland.
Okay.
And he said OG West Coast was, I think it was a pie or a space PIE and grapefruit. And pine. He meant pine. Okay. So that was like the old school classic. You get the pine feel. I was like, what is happening there? And I saw the next comment.
Yeah. I agree with that. The old stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that classic feel you got.
You
for
got
those type
all
of
those
beers.
hops, those original 5 or 6 hops are all usually grapefruit or piney.
And he said they're everywhere, like in Oregon. But he said most don't do a good job. LOL. So in his opinion, they're not doing as great a job. It's kind of like got that IPA name on it, but there might not be as good. But people are selling it because of their IPAs, and that's always a concern of some breweries when they get stuff out there. It's like where you guys are doing stuff here. You're like, hey, this is what we want to do. This is what we want to focus on. We're not chasing. Some breweries get in the habit of just chasing stuff because that's the hot thing. And it's like when you're not making maybe the best job, you're not maybe being true to yourself. Putting these beers out there. And that can hurt a brewery.
And there's nothing wrong with it, but there's a good amount of breweries out there that were ownership, and the reason that they were opened to make money, not to make beer. If that makes sense. And again, it's to each their own. There's nothing really wrong with that. But if your sole goal is just marketing and sales, and that's really all you care about, where does quality fall into that? Creativity, quality, uniqueness, so I think that's a lot of it. Just kind of depends. If you're just trying to make the money, then if it's selling, you're gonna keep making it. You don't really care if it's good or not. So,
but at some point, the market's going to respond if it's not.
It should. It's funny how sometimes I'll find stuff that I don't like, and then it's real popular. The jalapeno common, I think it's a fantastic beer, but I'm still very surprised and weary how popular it's been. Because I'm like, I just don't get it, I guess. But with that being said, if Michael wants another 12 half barrels of it in a week or so, I'll give him another 12 half barrels. I don't have a problem making it or selling it, but I'm like, I don't understand this. Like, are you sure you really want that many more?
I thought it was the taste. It's funny though. Some of the breweries when they make beer, just give an example because we have Rye guys here, right? So yesterday I was out over at the pub in Crestview, and I had I think it was called Commer. It was their cucumber Kolsch.
Okay.
Hit everything you wanted to hit on the style. Had the nice refreshing feel of the cucumber. Untapped, it was like average rate. It was like 2.8 or something.
Okay.
Do you guys know what a Kolsch is? And you're right about a beer that has a cucumber that's described as being a cucumber beer. We were talking about it last night on my show, and it's like when a guy said, it's like someone saying, he said he saw a comment on stout. That was Joe. He said it was a stout, and someone in the comments was 2,000.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a stout. So how is it 2 stout?
That's like saying, man, I got this steak and it's way too beefy.
Right. It's like you're not. It's like you're not making any. You're not making any sense on your thing there sometimes. And I think that's why I tell people take ratings for what they are, but some people just don't know what they're rating on some things or some
And
ideas
they shouldn't be. It's like the stout thing is, oh man, this is worse. This beer sucks. I hate this beer. I'm gonna give it a 0.5.
Yeah.
I hate stouts. Then why are you judging a stout?
Right.
Like you're gonna give every stout a 1 or a
Right.
0.5.
Right.
So it could be the best stout in the world.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
So don't put your opinion on that if you don't care about it.
Yeah.
So because then it just because other people a lot of people put a lot of weight into those
Yeah.
ratings and it can just be unfair.
Yeah.
I personally don't do Untapped.
Yeah.
My partner would be the one that keeps up on it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mainly stay. I mean, I might look at it sometimes, but I stay away from it just because of I don't really want to be influenced by that.
Yeah.
I'd like to be influenced kind of like by this, like
Yeah.
the people that come in, the people that like the beer. You can watch someone taste the beer and know if they like it or not.
Yeah.
They can say anything they want to say. You can tell right off when you first put it in your mouth whether
Right.
you like it or not.
Right.
And so, to me, that's the validation of whether something's good or bad.
Yeah.
So going on Untapped and trying to use that.
Yeah.
And my concern is that it's that little earworm thing
Yeah.
where I see something and it doesn't really bother me, but for some reason it just sticks in the back of my head.
Yeah.
And next time I'm making the beer, I might adjust it based on what they said.
Yeah.
And that's not how I want to do it.
Right.
But every time I get on Untapped and look at it, it's way more positive. Like,
Yeah.
I very rarely ever see anything negative. I don't look at it very often
Yeah.
either. But
I think most people
Yeah.
give more of a positive
Yeah.
outlook. 'Cause really, it's for your own
but then
tracking.
no one ever gives a 5, like either.
I think
So or
it's
whatever, I
almost
think it's
like
5.
I mean, even when I rate, and my background work is in the financial industry, so we talk about standard deviation a lot and stuff. We talk about a chart, and most people have a chart like that, right?
Yeah.
And most of your in the middle is going to be kind of from that 3 probably to maybe that tail end being around 4.5 or whatever.
Uh-huh.
You're going to have some that are 5s out there, just like you may have some that maybe halves, but they're more the outlier type thing.
I gotcha.
I think it's almost like at a 5, you're willing to run into a burning building and save this beer.
Well, I would
type
say if that's the
situation.
high number, that would be considered possibly, perfect.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing. There's no such thing as perfect.
Right. Exactly.
Perfect today. I might have the exact same beer tomorrow and it tastes completely different. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Based on what I ate for breakfast, what the weather is, or did I brush my teeth right before, or right after? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I
all
gotta
that
tell
stuff
people,
goes
you're
in.
only as big as your universe, right?
Yeah.
So you have a great beer that you had this year. Next year comes along, you're like, well, I've had other beers of that style now.
Yeah.
This one doesn't really stand out like these other ones do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think people are cautious about the 5s. I think the whole time I've done Untapped, I may have had less than 10 5s I've ever done on there,
Okay.
just because it's just not a high number. Something that really stands out. A lot of times it's like a 4.5.
Yep, that's what we see
4
a
and
lot of.
3/4.
Yeah.
It's kind
I
of
don't know
right
exactly
there.
what our number is, but I
Yeah.
think we're like low 4s, 4.3
Yeah.
or something.
So I think if you're at a 5, like I say, you run into a burner building, but you're also going to sit there and want to drink like a 4-pack of the pints or a 6-pack of the can. And it's like a lot of beers, you like them for a certain thing, but you're not going to maybe do that much of it, kind of type situation. So, and I always say, like in my videos when I look at the beers, I always say for my personal rating, this is where it sits with me.
I gotcha.
But I also explain how it fits the style and stuff too and everything. It's there. It's just like you said, you're not maybe going to drink the jalapeno one as much.
Yeah.
So for your personal rating, it might be lower, but as you look at that style, it's right there where it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I were to rate it, I would give it a higher number than I would personally
Enjoy it. Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, not just that I made it, but like it's a well-made beer.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate IPAs. Like I can appreciate a really well-made IPA.
Yeah.
But would I necessarily pick that out on a menu? Like, I don't know. I have bought milkshakes in New England before, but if there's an Imperial Stout, we're probably going to get that instead.
Try to get that one instead.
Even if it's August and, 95, 100% humidity.
You're like, I can drink stouts all year round, so there is no stout season in my book.
Yeah, well, that's where darkness kind of the theme is. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So,
Excellent, excellent. Let me see here. It's funny, Burning Beard. So he's making a joke because last night we were talking, right? I'm not a huge Star Wars person as much. It's not going to affect me doing anything around Star Wars, but it's kind of like don't forget to tell him you don't like Star Wars, right? Because I'm always more of a Star Trek than Star Wars.
I like Star Trek too. Though.
Yeah. I don't watch all the movie stuff. I get all the stuff that happens with it, but it's just like, we were talking last night. Like I started out watching Empire Strikes Back, Kind of went back later when I was younger, watched Star Wars, some of the Return of the Jedi. My wife later on, when it came out with the new movies, let's go see the new Star Wars type thing. And it was one that had Jar Jar Binks when they first came out. And I'm like, I don't understand why I'm here right now because I don't understand what's going on. And a lot of people didn't like the Jar Jar Binks guy, but it's kind of like it just wasn't sort of grabbing. And I tell people the thing I like more about Star Trek is that Star Trek has more of the hard science. Star Wars is more of the fantasy, and there is a difference in how things are actually done. So I think that's really the big thing in there, which everybody's not gonna like everything for sure. It's like I don't hate it, I just don't get pulled into it. Like I haven't watched Game of Thrones, and people can't believe I don't watch Game of Thrones. My wife loves it; she's a can't believe I don't watch it. It hasn't been anything that pulled me into watching that shit. So yeah.
I think it's better to binge watch it anyways.
You get it all done. Well, that's where Netflix comes in so well.
You don't get all that nonsense the last few seasons of just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Well, then the problem is not getting...
get on the damn boat.
The problem then is not getting spoiled online, because everybody starts talking about...
that's a good point.
Like I've been trying to avoid right now. I haven't seen the Avengers yet. So I got to see that because I didn't want to go like that opening weekend because it just seems so crazy. And my wife, she's actually traveling right now. She's like, see it. Like I didn't know she wanted to see it because sometimes she watches.
You gotta wait for her.
Wait for her to come back. So we're gonna go Sunday to watch it. But I was like off these last 2 days. I was like, I might go watch like Thursday at a 9:30 show or something like that. She's like, you might not go watch it when I'm not there. So all right. Sunday will be the day we actually probably see the Avengers.
I've heard nothing but good stuff.
Yeah, I have too. And then Basement Beer, Jamie, he's in Canada as well. He says, cheers, fellas. Happy Friday. So he's in there as well. Let's see, Burning Beer, thanks for watching. He said he had to go mow the lawn now, which I'm sure he'll have a beer afterwards. And Bumpy told him to happy mowing to bring a lawnmower beer with him. And then Bumpy says his wife is perfect except for her multiple faults. But I definitely appreciate the time. I didn't want to tie up too much of your day or anything like that. But anything like you want to talk about? I mean, anything I missed or anything that might make you guys stand out a little bit more? So.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that though.
Yeah. Well, hence why I'm here.
As soon as you leave, I'll remember 6 things. Yeah.
So for the people that are watching here, because I do have some of the local people watching as well, Darkness Brewing down here in the Bellevue area, definitely worth checking out. As you know, you have to basically come here to get any of their beers along those lines. But some great ideas. You guys have the website, right?
Yeah, we have darknessbrewing.beer.
Okay.
.com.beer.
Okay.
And
you have a Facebook page too, I know, right?
Yeah. That's where most of our advertising is done and our information daily and stuff. There's a link to that from the website, or you can just go right to, I believe it's just Darkness Brewing on Facebook.
On Facebook, okay. Now, do you ever share like recipes or anything, or have you ever anybody asked for that, or
are you meaning kind of how like Mad Tree does?
Like Mad Tree, they'll put their stuff out on the website.
No,
I didn't know.
The website, I don't think it's really updated a whole lot.
Okay.
Well, it's just my partner and I right now doing kind of everything. And when it comes to computer, anything, it's him.
Okay.
Everything in the back is still written down on a piece of paper.
Okay.
I mean, I have an app on my tablet that helps me with some recipe stuff and saving some time. But,
right.
I'm not computer forward or computer smart, if you will.
Yeah.
I think I'm sorry. I actually drew a blank on the actual question that you asked me.
About the recipes.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right.
So stuff on the website doesn't really get updated a whole lot, and I don't think there's really something on Facebook.
Right.
But if people were to ask, I'm not really against it.
Okay.
It's the one. I mean, the only problem is that I can tell you make it at 100 gallons. So.
Yeah.
And it's not just to scale down to 20 because of the scaling stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have a problem telling people. If people were to ask, there's a few home brewers that ask questions, not that many.
Yeah.
I think some people are a little bit nervous just to ask.
Yeah.
I don't ever have any qualms with telling people what's in stuff.
Okay.
You start to get down the ratios and things. It feels like I shouldn't say it, but I don't have a problem with it. I just don't know. A lot of times, if we're just chatting, like right now, I don't know any of that shit.
Yeah.
I'd have to go look it all up.
Yeah.
So, and then I could tell you, 3 bags of this and 4 bags of that. And when you go to the homebrew store, you're like, I need like a half a pound,
Yeah.
and that's where I don't.
The whole breaking it down right
Some
there.
of the brewers, I want to say that I think Alexandria does that still. Fibonacci, they start at 5 gallons
Yeah.
and scale up every time when they do the recipe development.
Okay.
Uh, Once I got going a little bit here, I do everything on our size for recipe development.
Okay.
So I haven't messed with 5 gallon batch size recipes in
Right.
probably 2+ years. So I'm like way out of practice with those numbers. Like
Gotcha.
just say like a pound of malt, from what I'm remembering right now, I think seems like kind of a lot in a home like a 5 gallon batch.
Right.
But like a pound of malt is like a joke. Like for
Yeah.
us, you know,
Yeah.
we're putting 150 pounds or 200 pounds. And,
Right.
so again, like if people ever have questions,
Yeah.
I'm not super secretive about it.
Okay.
There may be one or two things that I may not want to like give out, but I
Right.
mean, I would take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, can't hurt to ask.
Yeah, definitely. So I would definitely say make sure to check out on Facebook the site Darkness Brewing and everything, and then if you guys have questions, maybe give them an ask there, and we'll go from that along those lines. And really, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for everybody that actually tuned in to check out the broadcast. And as always, there's always time to get your beer on, so go out there and enjoy some beer. Coming up later will be another stream where I'll actually be sitting down with Adina Distributing, who actually distributes for Darkness as well. So that'll be coming up in a little bit here this afternoon. Look forward to catching you guys next time. Keep drinking those good craft beers. Remember, there's always time. Like I said, get your beer on. Cheers, everybody.